NBA Jam. Now we can finally look at a launch title that was released across several other platforms. Developed by Midway, NBA Jam found its start in the arcades in 1993. What makes NBA Jam so memorable is that instead of creating a realistic basketball simulator, the objective is focused on a 1 to 4 player 2-on-2 over-the-top competitive fast action arcade experience. In 1994, it made its way onto home consoles such as the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sega CD, Game Boy, among others. And in 1995, NBA Jam would receive an update with the Tournament Edition, which I'm reviewing today. NBA Jam Tournament Edition would also find its way onto console newcomers, the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation. To compare NBA Jam to another basketball game, here is NBA Live 96 for the Super Nintendo, which was also released in 1995. Notice how NBA Live is more focused on having a full 5 against 5 standard basketball game with penalties and all of the standard rules in place. NBA Live has a full roster and dissects each team more thoroughly, but when it comes to the gameplay, the amount of sprites cause major slowdowns in the frame rate. NBA Live 96 wouldn't be made available for the PlayStation until spring of 1996, so I will be fair and show the Super Nintendo version of NBA Jam Tournament Edition as a comparison piece briefly before moving forward with the review. As we can see, fewer sprites on the court allow for a more optimized frame rate, which allows for a smoother head-to-head experience. And perhaps this was just my experience, but with NBA Jam, you cannot go out of bounds, and it seems that the only penalty I was able to achieve was goaltending. Okay, back to the PlayStation. There were several releases in the console's infancy that were ports of arcade games released between 1993 and 1995. Even though Tournament Edition was released in 95, it's basically running on a graphics engine built from 1993. Therefore, the graphics are somewhat primitive for the PlayStation, but there are several reasons why I would recommend giving this game a shot. Firstly, there are plenty of players and a nearly complete roster of teams available for your choosing. The NBA players were designed to have their likenesses portrayed cartoonishly, which is pretty hilarious. Over 120 in total. Pretty impressive for the mid-90s. Secondly, hotspots. In the options menu, you can manipulate the rules a little bit, and one of the changes you can make is something called hotspots, which is my favorite game alteration to make. What this does is it sets up a random spot on the court where if your player makes a shot from, you can earn anywhere from 4 to 9 points. As someone who sucks at sports games, it's a pretty sweet way to level the playing field. Third, the myriad of cheat codes. Big head mode, baby mode, tall mode, mammoth head mode. Holy f***. Okay, maybe not mammoth head mode. The list goes on and on. Fourth, there are so many teams and players to choose from that it doesn't get stale. At the end of each quarter, you can choose to bench certain players and put someone else in, which if you decide not to, then you'll experience player fatigue, and they will drastically slow down while in play. No Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal, unfortunately, but don't worry, you can always find those two in Michael Jordan's Chaos in the Windy City, which Casey reviewed, and I'll slap that episode in the description below, and Shaq Fu, which, honestly, you couldn't pay me to play that piece of shit. The controls are simple. Passing and stealing is X or circle. Jumping, shooting, and blocking is controlled by pressing square or triangle. And turbo is R1. You can only control one player. However, if you are the only player controlling your team, you can control whether your teammate passes or shoots, but you cannot control his movement. Each version of NBA Jam Tournament Edition has different secret characters, the zaniest being on the SNES and the Genesis, where you can play as then-President Bill Clinton. If you are the President of the United States, and not only can you play saxophone, but you can also play basketball with NBA All-Stars, who can really blame you for getting a little bit of poontang while you're in the Oval Office? This is the first game I've reviewed that has a 4-player mode. Now you'll notice on the front of the PlayStation there are only 2 ports for your controllers, so Sony released a separate accessory called the Multi-Tap, which looks like a boomerang that you can plug into the Player 1 port, which allows you to plug in up to 4 controllers at once. Honestly, if you enjoy a great arcade port, look no further. The PlayStation's version is the best in my opinion, and for that reason, I'm giving NBA Jam Tournament Edition a B+. See you next time. Hey Shaq, I just got done playing NBA Jam Tournament Edition on the PlayStation 1, and you're not in it. What gives?
Man, you know how it is. I was too busy selling for Office Max and Papa John's. I ain't got no time to be in no stupid video game.
Stupid video game? So you won't be in NBA Jam, which is a classic, but you'll be in Shaq Fu?
What are you talking about? People love playing Shaq Fu, plus I get to be a fighting superhero and make a ton of money off it. Plus I am in NBA Jam.
What do you mean you're in NBA Jam? I swept through the entire roster and I didn't see you anywhere on there. You or Jordan.
Yeah, it's a home edition. It's NBA Jam Shaquille O'Neal edition. You could buy it for your home.
No offense, Shaq, but don't you make enough money off of like the 50 companies you're doing commercials for?
Now you sit around playing games all the time. Here's a game for you. How about making big gains? Going out there and making money doing what you love to do.
Hey, if selling Nestle Crunch printer cartridges and Burger King is living the dream, then I guess I can't tell you how to live your life.
Man, I got 2 words for your hating ass. Kazam, bitch. Alright, I gotta go sell some insurance. I'll talk to you later.